Welcome to The Stacks, a podcast about books and the people who read them. I'm your host, Tracy Thomas. Today, I'm talking with Liara Tamani. Liara is the author behind Calling My Name and her latest book, All the Things We Never Knew. We talk today about how Liara became a writer for young adults, the ways education has been letting our young people down, and a film we both love, Love and Basketball. Remember, everything we discuss on today's episode can be found in the link in the show notes. Before we get to the episode, I just wanted to thank the Stacks Pack on Patreon. Those are folks who have contributed a small amount each month that goes a long way to making this show possible. For their generosity, they earn perks like our monthly virtual book club and shout outs on the show. And of course, my eternal gratitude. If you want to join the Stacks Pack, please head over to patreon.com/thestacks. Okay, this week I'm giving a special thanks to Carly Crushell, Sophie Terp, Jenny Klein, Emma, Sandra Nunez-Sims, Lindsay, Sophia, Olivia, Beatrice Chahin, MK, Haley Smith, and Jessica Mamoli. Thank you all so much. Okay, now it's time for my conversation with Liara Tamani. All right, everybody, I'm so excited. I'm here today with Liara Tamani. She is the author of All the Things We Never Knew. It is a YA book about, it's a kind of like a YA romance, but also in the true sense of YA, it's a finding yourself, who am I, who do I want to be kind of story. Liara, welcome to the Stacks.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm very excited to have you. I'm sure you said that you listen to the show, so you know I don't just let any old YA author on this podcast.
No, you do not. I feel like the YA authors, you've had like Jason Reynolds.
Yeah. Sarah Ennie.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And I think
no,
that's
you do
it.
not let it. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah,
welcome. You're my third.
I am excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Oh, wait, hold on. I lied. I also had Jacqueline Woodson.
Jacqueline Woodson. Yes, you did. Yes,
I forgot because she's so great that I forgot that was even something that I was allowed to have in my life.
And y'all weren't talking about her YA work.
No.
You were talking about Red at the Bone, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But not that I have anything against YA authors. It's just you're not normally in my space, in my mind. So like reading your stuff and having you on, I'm like, oh, this is fun. It's kind of like a different world for me because, I don't read YA normally, but now I have started. And Let's start with you and your book. So in about 30 seconds or so, can you just tell us about your book?
Yes. All the Things We Never Knew. It's a love story. It centers on the lives of Rex and Carly, who are two Houston area high school basketball stars. And the book is written in alternating perspectives. So you really get to know both of them deeply and follow their love story and them falling in love for the first time, which is really messy. Their love is really messy and really complicated,
right?
But it's also really tender and sweet. And the book is not only about them falling in love and romantic love, but it's also about familial love, the love between friends, and, most importantly, the love of self. So,
right. I'm curious kind of why you felt compelled to tell this story, because like you said, it's not just a love story between Rex and Carly, but it's also about their families and themselves. And also, in some respects, like the love that someone might have for their future self or like what they want to be or like where they want to go. So I'm curious kind of why you felt compelled to share this story.
Yes. And I love that you say future self. It's like I have been saying future self for so long, and I've been so conscious of my future self for so long. Whenever I'm making decisions, for at least the last 20 years, probably longer in my life, I'm like, okay, girl, I know what you want, but what about your future self?
Right. Oh my gosh.
I'm always thinking of her. And I want kids to think of their future selves too, right? It's because, every day that we live, we are shaping our lives, like literally moment to moment, all day long. You are shaping the life of your future self. And it is so powerful.
Yeah.
And I definitely did not know that at my age. It's like, you're planning for your future, but no, it's like you have the literal power to shape your life
Right.
and
Because
your
we're
every.
taught a lot to like think about our future in specific ways. Like, are you saving money? Do you want to own a house? Like certain milestones, but not so much like who do we want to be kind of in our soul or like in our core of our being or the ways that the things we're doing right now are going to change the things that we might want.
Yeah, it's like who we are as people. What do we like? What are we drawn to?
Mm,
And to really explore those things and, commit to exploring those things on a daily basis so that they grow. It's like
right.
whatever you want in your life to grow, you have to direct energy there and spend time there, and
Right.
invest in that space, so
Right.
that it grows more in your life. Yeah, and that's something I want teens to know. So.
Right. Did you always want to write for young people, or was that something that kind of like how did you decide to write YA?
Yeah, it's something that just kind of happened. My first book, Calling My Name, it could have been sold either adult or YA. And when I was writing it, I really was not conscious, honestly, of the market.
Right.
I was just like writing the best book I can write.
Right.
And, it's really naive, honestly. It's like I wish I would have known more about the business and known more about how everything works.
Sure.
And so, but when, my agent started to sell it, she was like, well, we'll go with YA first,
Hmm.
because it is a lot more literary. And honestly, it didn't fit into the YA market, the first one, because it follows a girl from 12 to 17, and
Okay.
YA typically likes, shorter time spans, like a year or 6 months.
Oh, okay.
And so, but we sold it. She actually sold it in a week, and it was a two-book deal. So this
Mm,
second book, I was a lot more conscious, like, okay, I am writing this for a teenage audience. The first
interesting.
book, I didn't really know. Of course, when I found out we sold it to, as YA, I went back and made a few changes, but, you know, I didn't know initially.
I
So.
see. Do you think that if you had a one book deal that your next book would have been YA? Like do you feel like that's the space for you or do you feel like that's the space that you are found yourself in?
Yeah, it's interesting. I honestly feel like I could write so many things. I have so many books already in my mind,
Okay.
from picture books to adult books,
Right.
to erotic books,
Right.
like the full span. And so I feel like, with me in my life, it's just going to be like, where am I at in this particular moment? And what
Okay.
is going to bring me to the page and inspire me to write? And that is what I'm going to write. I don't think I'm going to stick to the YA, just stay in this space. And honestly, I want in my career to move more away from social media.
Okay.
you know, it's like,
Yeah, I
it,
know.
it's really hard for me, and I feel like it takes away from my writing.
Hmm.
And I know that it's a part of marketing and how you sell books, but for me and my life and just the type of life I want to live and where I want to direct my attention to on a daily basis, I don't like how much I look at the phone. And so I
Mm.
don't know if that is going to have an impact on where I go. I'm going to see.
Why would
uh,
that have an impact?
yeah, because I feel like in the YA space, like everybody does such strong marketing
Oh,
on
I see.
social
Okay.
media. Everybody is like, most people are like hardcore on social media, and it
Mm,
helps. It helps, to, have relationships with other authors. It helps just build your brand,
right.
it helps with all those things. And, it's wonderful. And I think, especially for a younger generation who grew up kind of in that space and on the, in those spaces, whether it's Instagram or whatever. I didn't grow up like that. I didn't grow up, with social media. It's really new to me. Actually, I didn't really get on it until I knew I was going to have a book, a book coming out.
Really?
Yeah, like a few years ago, I was like, okay, let me start this social media
That's so
thing.
funny.
And so, but I don't like it, and so I want to transition out of it, and we will see where I can have success without being on social media.
Right.
But at the end of the day, I want to continue writing what's in my heart, what's on my heart, or just writing what inspires me at the time, and that could be anything.
Right, right. Okay, that makes sense. I like that. I like that answer that it's, a fluid thing and more
Yeah.
that you're just kind of a writer and what happens for you and what comes up. That's sort of nice. I think that people, all sorts of people approach their craft differently, but I think that that's something that's more rare than something more rare than what I normally hear from people when I ask them kind of about genre or type of book that they've written. So I really like that. Do you how do you like I mean, so I'm far-ish removed from my teenage years, like I'm
Mm-hmm.
33, so I'm not
Mm-hmm.
super far, but I'm not 22. So I'm just curious how you know what's going to work for teenagers. Like, how do you figure out how to talk to teenagers through writing? Because
Mm-hmm.
it's different than having a conversation with a teenager, right? You have to connect to them in a certain way through writing. And, you're also an adult. So I'm just curious, like, what that process is like for you and if it's hard or if it just kind of happens.
No, I don't know. I feel like for me it's pretty natural.
Okay.
And I do feel like it helps that I do have a lot of teenagers in my life.
Okay.
I have a big family and lots of nieces and nephews, and I talk to them all the time. And I do feel that that helps. And I'm connected to to I guess the younger culture. Even my boyfriend, he follows, his Instagram looks completely different to mine and he's showing me stuff all the time. It's like I do feel like I don't feel like I'm out of the loop, like
Okay.
like that I'm trying to reach this space that I know nothing about. I feel like no, I can be up in here, I can look around and and articulate it in a way that connects to them, or just describe the space and inhabit those characters. Like I fully inhabited, I feel like, Rex and Carly
Yeah.
in different ways. And a lot of the emotions that they feel, which a lot of my writing is centered and rooted in emotion, I guess. They're just human emotions, we all feel
Right.
them.
Right. Right.
So the difference may be in the dialogue and how they
Right.
express themselves, but at the end of the day, it's an emotion. Everything that they felt, I felt.
Right.
So and so I know.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that you're 100% right that young people are, they feel the same things we feel and they experience a lot of the same things that we experience. My experience with younger folks, probably younger than teenagers, but I remember being a teenager still. I'm still young enough to remember being a teenager. And I feel like teenagers are super duper authenticity meters, like if you write some bullshit in a adult novel, people might be like, oh, that's amazing. It's so great. Like, wow, I can't believe she said that. Like, how amazing. But if you write some shit that's not authentic in like a young person's book, they just close the book and are like,
Right.
bye.
Get on with that. Get on with
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's kind of where my question comes from is like, how do you figure out what's going to work for a teenager? Because I just feel like they don't have necessarily, I'm speaking in a huge generalization, but they don't have the same patience or, time for bullshit.
Right. No, I completely agree. And really, it's like with all my writing, whether it's going to be for adults or who it is, I'm trying to come from that authentic place.
Right.
Even, this is a romance, and romance can get real cliche,
Right.
especially in this instance where the characters start off with, big feelings for each other. But it's
Right.
like, I really worked to make sure it wasn't cliche. I really worked to make sure that the characters felt authentic and that you can really vibe with them and feel them and root for them and all of that. And so that authenticity, I think it's there. And as
Yeah.
long as that's there and they can connect with the characters, I feel like that's where it's at. That's where the winning is, or that's what you want. That's what you want them to do, be able to connect with the characters. So
Yeah, I love that. So one of the big kind of big parts of this book is basketball. And you wrote for Time Magazine for the 20th anniversary of Love and Basketball, perhaps one of the
yes.
greatest films of all time. I don't know. I can't say for sure, but it's pretty good.
It's up
Yeah,
there.
it's great.
Yeah.
You wrote about Love and Basketball. And so I'm kind of curious what your relationship is to basketball. Wait, but before you answer that, I also have to say that you were retweeted by Ava DuVernay.
Yes.
Which was like, yes. Holy shit.
Holy shit.
Did you
I was
freak?
like, I'm going to have to up my Twitter game.
Yeah.
But I didn't. After that, I still didn't have my Twitter
You were like,
game.
I still don't want to be on social media, but this is amazing.
No, and especially I'm better on Instagram. I was
Okay.
like, I wish I could connect to her through Instagram. I'm a lot better on Instagram than I am. I can't do it all. Like at
Right,
least I'm
right,
like trying to choose one to be decent at, and
right,
I'm
right, right.
decent at Instagram, but not Twitter. But no, it was an amazing experience, and it was an amazing moment to know that you just I felt seen,
Yeah.
and to be seen by someone that you admire and someone that you look up to. It's an amazing feeling. I was like, I was on a high definitely that day. I was on a high just knowing, even Gina Bythewood saw it, tweeted it. We had a little exchange. It's like, that article gave me a little bit of exposure and
Hmm.
allowed me to connect to people that I wouldn't necessarily be
Mm.
able to connect to otherwise.
Right,
And
right.
and I really appreciated that moment because of that.
Okay, back to my original question. I just had
Yeah.
to fangirl over you having connected with Ava DuVernay because, like, who wouldn't want to? Basketball. What's your relationship to basketball? Why? How? How did you come to basketball?
Why? Yeah, why?
I
Okay,
love
so
basketball, but just how did
yeah.
it come for you?
Yeah, so growing up, I come from a family of basketball players. Like, my brother and my dad played in college.
Okay,
I'm 5'11". I
okay,
really didn't want to play. I was kind of forced to play basketball. So I ended up playing. All my cousins played, my sister played. And so that was part of my background growing up. My boyfriend played, everybody played. And then my ex-husband played in the NBA.
oh wow,
So, I spent like 13 years, going to games and being a part of that culture,
I see.
the NBA culture. And so with me and my writing life, typically, well, my first two books have been super personal.
Okay,
This is not my story. All these things did not happen to me, but I definitely, took, the emotions I felt, from different times of my life
mm,
and put them into books,
right.
and so calling my name is kind of like how I grew up,
Hmm.
and then all the things we never knew. It's, a lot of emotions from that second period of my life, which revolved around a lot around basketball
I
because,
see.
you know, yeah.
Yeah. And who's your team? You're in Houston, so are you a Rockets fan?
Houston Rockets. Yeah. Houston.
Oh,
I mean, I can't say that like these days, it's like after being, going to games and, all those years being so wrapped up into basketball, I don't even have cable these days. So
okay.
I don't really watch basketball that often, but the playoffs I do watch, all the time. But I do love LeBron,
Okay.
who also is highlighted in the book. I love, how he's so vocal and how he speaks out and he's trying to have an impact, on the
Right.
larger world and speaking up on behalf of Black people. I love him and see what he's doing and starting schools. And he has a new children's book coming out too.
He does?
I forget the name of it.
I didn't
Yes, he
know
has a
that.
picture. He has a picture book coming out soon.
Oh,
Yeah.
amazing. Okay,
Hmm.
I have to get on that. I've got two brand new little babies and I'm always looking for a picture book. So
Yeah.
gotta,
Yeah.
and I don't love LeBron because I'm a Warriors fan. So I hate
Oh,
LeBron, but
okay.
the day that LeBron James retires, I'm gonna become like a huge LeBron
Huge.
fan. But like right now, everything he does is like I'm
Annoying.
disgusted by him. I'm like, ugh, how dare LeBron open a school? What an asshole. Like, but like, I promise you, the day
Such
he
a show
retires, I'm
off.
gonna be like, oh, I love LeBron. He opened a school. He had so much to say. No. I can separate LeBron, the person who does good things, from LeBron, the basketball player, but just barely. Like,
Barely. Okay.
just barely. Okay, so one of the other themes of the book that I found to be the thing that I was the most interested and excited by, because I don't necessarily see people talking about this with young people, or with adults, let alone young people, is you really deal with grief in this book.
Mm,
And
yeah.
it's, this isn't a spoiler, but there are characters who have lost parents. There are lots of family secrets that come out that lead to like sort of a grief of the things that, we thought that we knew, right? Like all the things we never knew. Finding out some of those things lead to grief and, this sense of loneliness and loss. And I'm curious, why that was important for you to put in the book, why that was something you wanted to focus on in this love story.
Yeah. Grief and just pain.
Yeah.
I feel like there are a lot of people not only dealing with their personal pain, teenagers, but living with the pain that of their parents, especially
Right.
they're living in their parents' house. Your parents rear you, they raise you. Any pain that they have not really healed, you are going to see that and you are going to have to deal with that in a certain way. And I've known and still know lots of teenagers who have had to deal with that and haven't processed that,
Mm,
and are carrying that pain with them and have carried that pain with them into their adulthood,
right.
where they're now passing it on to their kids.
Right.
It's like, I know it's a thing that we always talk about, inherited pain and, passing on pain, but it is very real, and I really wanted kids to know in this book that, they, even when you do have to deal with your parents' pain, that your parents' pain is not your own.
Mm,
You know, you can put it down.
right.
You don't have to carry it. It's not yours,
Right.
and that, in order a lot of times to deal with hurt and to deal with pain, you do have to look at it.
Hmm.
You you have to be aware. A lot of people, a lot of adults, haven't learned how to really squarely look at the pain, and become aware of it so that you can
Right.
deal with it. And that is really the first step. If you're not looking at it, if you're too busy pushing it away, I'm not hurt. I'm good. I'm good. I'm fine.
Right.
If you're too busy doing that, it'll stay there and it will cause a lot of damage, to your relationships, to everything you love.
Right.
So just kind of making kids aware, like, hey, if you have pain, in your life, whether it's, coming from yourself or you're coming from your parents, hey, it's okay. Look at it.
Right.
Let's look at it, and then, see how you can have a healing around it, looking at it and trying to heal it. And I try to do that, with characters like Rex. You know, I love Rex, and Rex is cool. He's so vulnerable and he's
Yeah.
so tender,
He's
but he's
so
also like
vulnerable.
cool. He's cool. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So these kids are not like, oh, he's corny and, whatever. Nah, this is like a cool dude, I think, you
Yeah.
know, facing his stuff and like trying to get past it. So,
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's true. I like that about Rex too, that he is got a lot going on and he's very emotional and kind of like volatile a little bit, and that it comes from, this trauma and this pain that he's carrying with him, but that he's also like a cool dude.
yeah.
Like I like that because I do think sometimes when characters have a lot going on, they also, are written as losers or weirdos. And then it's like you don't have to value their pain because there's other issues or whatever. And so I like that you made Rex really, from the outside, appearing like the aspirational, like cool guy. But then on the inside, we get to see that there's a lot going on for him.
Yeah, I mean, and that it goes for most people, especially now with social media. Everybody wants to put on the best face, right?
Right.
It's like, look how cute I am. Look how great my life is. Look
Right.
at me. You know what
Right.
I'm
Right.
saying?
Right. Right.
Like, I have it going on, especially teenagers are going to be like that. Nobody's like out here like, at home, I'm really sad. It's
Right.
like, but you have to kind of deal with what's going on the inside. And I want teenagers to know it's like, yeah, people look okay on the outside, but, we all have stuff going on the inside that we need to deal with. All of us.
Yeah, totally. I mean, so
Yeah.
true. I feel like even people on social media who try to make those posts that are like pictures of them crying, being like, I'm not always happy. I'm so sad. It's like, even that is like a bullshit performance,
Oh,
right? Like,
yes.
even that is a
Totally.
curated choice of like, which
Totally.
crying selfie do I look the best worst in? And like, how's the
Exactly.
lighting in this bathroom while
Right.
I'm
Like to
like
get
crying?
sympathy, to
Yeah.
get, yeah, no.
Exactly, exactly. Okay, so you mentioned that you have a lot of young people in your life, and this book isn't out as of our recording, but it will be out as of people's listening. I'm curious, do you let any of the young people in your life read your work before it's released? Like, do you let them be kind of like your sensitivity readers, if you will?
Yeah, I mean, I have one niece
Okay.
that reads, but the rest of them, they'll read it when it comes out, but they're not like, "Oh, let me cop that." But what I will say about this book is I think they will all love it and read it. And I
Okay.
had that in mind when I was writing this book. Calling my name, it is like I said, it verges between, it could be for adults, it could be it's, more literary, it spans more time. It has like a really it's the plot is not traditional. It's slower. It's written in vignettes and like short
Mm,
stories. Um, And I don't know if they connected to it as much,
Hmm.
especially the boys. The girls did, especially boys. But with
Right.
this one, it's like, I want the boys to connect. I want my nephews to read it. I want my nieces
Right.
to read it. I want them all to read it. And I have that in mind. Like, and so I can't wait for them to read it. I actually can't wait for my nephews to read it. And I want to hear what they have to say. But I think they will like it. My nieces
Okay.
and my nephews. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, I can't wait to hear what they think too. So the cover of this book is really gorgeous.
So
And I feel like I saw on your Instagram that you have an artist that you really like, right? Like it's someone that
yeah.
can you tell us who did your cover and kind of how it came to be?
Yeah, Love is Wise. Love is Wise did the cover, and she is amazing. I just love her name to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, Love is Wise. And I love her art, and her art has that energy. It exudes love. And my publisher asked me, "Hey, do you know who you want to do the cover?"
Mm.
And I said, "I want her to do the cover." I gave them her name, and she was available. So it worked
Wow.
out. I mean, my first cover, I had no idea who I was, not a part of it all. They were like, "Oh, here's your cover." It ended up being amazing. Vashti
Yeah, it's
Harris did it. It
gorgeous.
was amazing. It was gorgeous, but I was not a part of it all of it at all. But this one, they let me choose her. And then once I chose her, she was open. And I'm forever grateful to her for this, is but she was open to collaborate because
Hmm.
she wasn't into basketball that much, so she was open to collaborate and we kind of went back and forth. But I love what she did and how it ended up coming out. Like, I love
Yeah.
Carly and Rex. I love all the celestial elements on it. I feel like it literally perfectly embodies the story in the book. So
Yeah.
thank you, Love is Wise.
Yeah, I think it's really good. It's a really nice cover and I love how bright and vibrant it is, and I also love Carly's hair on the cover. How did you pick the names in your book? How do you name your characters?
Ooh, Carly and Rex. Like, I know Carly. Carly, I used to have this design business back in the day. It's like I had a million careers before
Okay.
I started writing. And one of them was this design business actually that I had with a couple of friends. It was after my first design business that I had just by myself. And I forget the full name of it, but it was Carly something, and it was
Okay.
was Carly with an Y. And for some reason, that name has it's like and we didn't the business didn't last long. Getting into business with friends and friends and friends,
Right.
it's sometimes not great.
Right, right, right.
It's like, and we were super young, but I guess it's always been in my mind as something like that's not fulfilled in a way.
Okay.
And I just like the name. I just always loved the name. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to use Carly. So I picked Carly like that. I'm not sure where Rex came from,
Hmm.
honestly.
Okay.
Like, I must have, I don't know. Did I go online and start researching names and like that one? I honestly don't know. I don't
Okay.
remember.
That's okay.
Yeah.
So you said you've had a lot of jobs. Did you have a day job like while you were writing this book?
No. I mean, yes and no. I mean, I have an ongoing real estate business,
Okay.
which, my part in it these days is mostly to decorate and design
Nice.
places. And so that's fun for me. And so while I was doing this book, and it's like the whole thing. It's like ripping out floors and choosing tile and choosing what's going on the walls and then completely furnishing places. I was definitely doing a lot of that when writing this book. So yeah.
Okay. How do you find the time to do the writing when you have other obligations? Because you're also a mom.
I am also a mom, and it works out with my daughter. My daughter is with her dad every other weekend.
Okay.
That gives me time. And then, I drop her off at school. Normally school gives me time.
Right.
It didn't at the end of this last year, but
Right.
normally school gives me time. And so I drop her off in the morning, but then I pick her up. She wants to be picked up, at 3:15, and she doesn't like to stay after. And I can give that to her, so I do give that to
Right.
her, but it really cuts into my workday. I have a really
Sure.
short workday, which I understand, makes me less productive, but at
Sure.
the same time, it's like I have this to give her and I want to give it to her, this time of mine, and it's precious time. And
Right.
gosh, I look back at pictures of her when she was a baby and I'm like, oh my, it makes me want to cry. It's like, it's
Right.
going by so fast. She's already 8 years old, you know? And so, and I have the rest of my life, hopefully, to write, you know,
Right.
and I'm still writing and still producing things that I'm proud of. And even if it
Mm,
goes at a slower pace, I'm okay with that. I don't have to put out a book every year or, you
right.
know, and so I'm a little slower, but that's okay, you
Yeah.
know. And so
Yeah,
yeah.
that's definitely okay. What is your writing setup like? Where do you write? How do you write? Like, do you like to have a snack or beverage? Do you have music playing? Can you like what is it? Do you have to be in the same spot? Can you be out in public? Like, what's your whole writing situation
Yeah.
look like?
Normally I like quiet.
Okay.
And I like to be alone. And so, and I typically write, like I've stopped writing in chairs. I used to write at computers, but it just kills my back. Like
Okay.
I've gone through back things. And so now I typically write like on the sofa,
Okay.
kind of stretched out with my legs stretched out,
Mm,
you know, with my computer propped up on pillows.
okay.
I write like that. Or I write outside on my kind of like deck area,
Okay.
also in the same way. I cannot write in coffee shops because of the noise
Yeah.
and just being around people. Definitely no music, you know, pretty much silence. I have to hear my own thoughts and hear
Yeah.
my own words form. And it's like when I get into that process, when I'm on my computer, it's like I'm pretty hard on myself. I erase a lot. And so it's
Mm,
like I really have to hear myself. It's like
mm-hmm.
I love rhythm when I'm writing. And so I always want to love the rhythm of every sentence that goes down on the page. So I'm
Mm.
constantly, you know, writing and reading what I wrote. And,
Do you read
you
it out
know,
loud?
sometimes,
Okay.
yeah, definitely. But just going back and just reading, like if I write a sentence, I want to get that perfect. And then, you know, after I finish the paragraph, I go back and tweak it again,
Hmm.
you know. It's a constant rewriting when I'm writing.
Mm.
And I know it's not efficient and most writers don't do that. But then when I get to the end of the book is a lot of the edits are not, you know, it's highly edited
Right.
by by me already.
Right. I feel like there's definitely two schools of thought. Either you're a junk draft person or a work, like kind of edit as I go person. I feel like that's what I
Yeah.
hear mostly.
Yeah, I'm an edit as you go person, and I feel like I try to be a junk draft person. I really wish I could because honestly, I think it is more efficient, but I can't. It's like I can't let it stand. If I
Mm,
don't like a sentence, it's really hard for me to move on. And you know, I think honestly, it informs the sentences to follow. It's like if I
right.
get that sentence right and it feels right and it says exactly what I wanted to say, then it's easy for me to come up with the next sentence and the next
Hmm.
sentence after that. So,
That makes sense.
yeah.
So you avoided answering my favorite part of that question, which is snacks and beverages.
Oh, snacks and beverages. Oh my God.
Let's get to the tough questions, okay?
Snacks. I don't normally keep the snacks I want in the house because I'll eat them all.
Okay.
You know what I'm
Okay.
saying? It's like I have no willpower when it comes to snacks.
Okay.
Like during this quarantine, I got into a phase of, oh, we need snacks, you know, and I ate them all. Like, you know, those huge bags from Costco, potato chips in
Hmm.
particular. I went through 3 huge bags
Good
of
for
potato
you.
chips. And I was like, just snack, snack, snack. And so typically, I don't keep any of that. I guess I snack on a lot of nuts.
Okay.
Peanuts, I love peanuts.
Okay.
So I snack on nuts. And, you know, throughout the day, I'm a tea drinker.
Okay. What kind
Um,
of tea?
Chamomile,
Okay.
green. I've recently become a coffee drinker over quarantine though, and it's been
Oh,
really delicious. Normally I can't drink coffee because like it makes me too anxious. Like it
okay.
gives me, you know, I can't sleep at night. And but I've started, you know, a meditation practice, and I'm so glad I did start it. But maybe like I don't know, maybe 6 months ago now, like
Mm.
a meditation, like you meditate twice a day,
Oh, wow.
and that meditation practice has gotten my anxiety lower so that even if I drink coffee at like 1 o'clock, I'll
Wow.
still be able to sleep at night. And before I couldn't drink coffee at all
Hmm.
and sleep at night. So it's like my meditation is allowing me to drink coffee. It's like really
That's so
weird.
interesting. I'm curious to see how that practice, if you keep up with it, will change once, I guess, hopefully we're out of quarantine and we can be in the world. Like if you'll still do
Right.
that, if you'll still be able to drink coffee.
Coffee. Yeah, but it's so delicious. Before I used to be
Oh, I
so
think it's
it's like,
disgusting.
you think
I
it's disgusting?
hate coffee.
Are you
I
serious?
don't drink coffee because I think coffee tastes like socks. and shoes and feet and like is one of the grossest tastes. I hate coffee, but a lot of people are like, oh, because of the caffeine. But pardon?
The sugar and milk, like even
Yes.
when you,
Even
yes.
like coffee ice cream is gross to
Oh
me.
my gosh.
Like
Okay.
if something has coffee in it, I can usually tell. And I'm like, oh, is there coffee in this cake? Like, you know, like a chocolate cake or something. I'm like, there's espresso in here. Like out for coffee.
Oh my gosh. That's a good thing. I mean, well, it's like you don't need the caffeine. You
Sure.
don't,
I mean,
yeah.
yeah, I don't like it, so I don't miss it. It's not like
Yeah.
people who love coffee but are like, I can't drink it because it makes me too wired. Like, I'm
Right.
not interested in your beverage. Like, get it away.
That was always me. And it's like, it's like I get jealous too because, even when I couldn't have it before, I would have it ever so often, and I would usually have it right before I go dance. I love dancing. And so before I go to Zumba, I would go, okay, once every few weeks, let me have a coffee.
Mm-hmm.
I would dance my ass off. I'd be like, dropping. I had all the energy in the world. I'm like, this is what y'all get to have every day. If this is what everybody is on every day, this is like so awesome. Like, but yeah, typically, but now I've been like, it's been beautiful. Like I usually have a little coffee with a little milk and sugar, and I have a little piece of peanut butter bread during quarantine. My life, it's like I'm indulging in the little sweet ways, that
We need
that
it.
make life a little sweeter. I had it this morning. I was like, oh yes, like it's like yes.
I had pizza for breakfast today.
I love those days.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. It was
yeah.
so good. I've been indulging a lot between quarantine and being a new mom. I'm like, I don't care. I'll deal with all of this later.
Yes. Yes, exactly.
I'm like, there's pizza in my fridge.
Yes. And I'm going to have it for breakfast. Yes. I did that last week. Yeah.
And honestly, let's not play any games. I was having pizza for breakfast before quarantine and before I was a mom. I just like pizza. Okay. I eat what I want. I'm one of those people. I'll deal with the rest of it later, but I like to eat what I like to eat. Valentine's Day is upon us, and I've got love on the brain. Love for books. Duh, of course. Hello. Did you forget what podcast you're listening to? I love bringing you all great reads, exclusive author interviews, and behind the scenes book gossip. But I can only do that with your support over on Patreon and Substack. Our Stacks Patreon community, also known as the Stacks Pack, is where you can go for book club meetups, a private, very active Discord, and a year-long mega reading challenge to help you achieve all your reading goals. Plus, you also get that monthly bonus episode. Now, over on the Substack, you can subscribe to my newsletter, Unstacked, where I keep the book conversations going. I also give you a healthy dose of sports and pop culture, definitely some hot takes happening over there. And again, that bonus episode. If you don't have a few dollars to spare, don't worry. There are free options on the Substack and the Patreon to get you a little extra Stacks magic. Making this podcast is a total team effort, and by supporting my Patreon and my Substack, you allow me to support my amazing team that makes the show possible every single week. So if you or your friends are looking to meet other book lovers and support this indie podcast, come hang out with me on Patreon, Substack, or both. I would love to have you. And since we're talking about love, you can gift subscriptions to the Patreon and the Substack for that special reader in your life. For the Stacks Pack, head to patreon.com/thestacks. And for the newsletter, head to tracythomas.substack.com. And also, there are links to both in the show notes. Okay, see you in the Stacks. Okay, another very important question, hard-hitting journalism. What's a word that you can never spell correctly on the first try?
Oh my gosh. Psychology, any of the size. Like I can't spell it right now as we speak. If you ask me, I'll be like,
I know. It's like, where does the S and the Y, what's their relationship to one another?
Y, the A, and there H in there? Or is it? I don't know.
Some of them that have H's. Yeah, I'm fully with you on that. No thanks. Thank God for predictive text and, the little red squiggly line. Because I'd be turning things in with just misspelled words in high school. Like, I don't know. Figure it out, teacher.
Here it is. Yeah, I guess that's been writing by hand. Yeah, you don't have that.
You're like a super duper nerd over there. You went like I know I listened to you on Sarah Ennie's podcast talking about how you were like crazy straight A student. Yeah. And like fought with a professor over a B+ grade. And you went to Harvard Law School for 1 year because you didn't really want to be there, but you just had to flex on everybody. Like, I got in and I could go, but I actually don't want to be here. So, like, maybe you can't spell psychology, but like, you went to Harvard Law School and you're like a straight A student.
Yeah, and I don't even know that was like a great thing because it's like you can obsess about like making good grades but in that it's like I probably didn't spend time on things that would have interest me or
Right.
like helped in my development at the time.
Right.
But yeah, and I don't even think I'm like super smart. I've never considered myself a super smart person. I work really hard though. I will
Right.
say it's like I've always had like a really strong work ethic.
Right.
So it's like even, at undergrad at Duke, people used to come for me and ask for my outlines because like how I would study for a test is, I would go like if I had to take a, calculus test, I would go back and and do every single homework problem and every single test problem from the whole semester. I would do them all to prepare for the final.
Ugh. Oh my gosh.
I know, like that's who I am. Like,
Oh my
so it's like
God.
I'm not super smart. I'm super hard working.
But you probably are super smart. You just don't think you're super smart because you're hardworking. So you feel like there's more you could be doing or like that there's more, like I feel like people who are super smart and hardworking often discredit their smartness on behalf of their hardworkingness. But I think it's probably both things.
Okay, I will claim that. I will step into that and own that.
I mean, if you're doing calculus homework twice, you're hella smart. I couldn't even do it the first time. I was definitely cheating off my friends. Like, please give me your homework so that I can do this because I am not a math person. And you know what? I'm going to school to be an actor, and my future self apparently is going to have a book podcast. So I really don't need this.
I can see that. You're an actress.
I went to theater school. So I studied theater at NYU.
Okay. I have a friend that studied it, but she's older. But
yeah. So I did not need calculus. I took pre-calculus. I cheated off my best friend, Claire. She was in like honors pre-calc and I was in regular pre-calc. And so we had the same teacher and he would assign the same assignments, but just go through them faster with the honors kids. So I would just take her paper and copy the answers. And my tutor that my parents paid for me to have was like, yeah, that's totally fine.
That's totally fine.
Because it was like, that's one of the things I feel like for young people, and I'm sure you get this a lot writing for young people, is like the way the education system is, it's not necessarily there to teach you anything. And if you know you're not going to do this thing and it's also something that nobody really uses, like calculus, it's like, just let me get through it and get a good grade so that it doesn't get in the way of me doing the things that I want to do and the things that I'm good at.
Yeah, no, totally. It's like that's one of the things that needs to be completely transformed, the educational system. It's like all this teach to the test, and having kids being just tested all the time over information that is literally going to leave their brains as soon as they know they don't have to know it anymore.
I couldn't even tell you what calculus is.
Right.
I don't even know when I would need to use it.
Yeah, I can't either.
Right.
It's like, and I studied a lot and I still can't tell you. Yeah. But no, kids kind of like being inspired to research what they want to learn about and learning more about, what they're passionate about. That would be such a better way to learn.
And like teaching kids how to think critically.
Oh,
I feel like that's really the thing. That's the only thing I ever use, I feel like, from all of my education is like how to read something or hear something and then have thoughts and figure out why that thing is valuable, like how it's applicable in what I'm looking at.
Yeah. And especially in this day and age, when you have information coming at you from everywhere, you have to be able to read and to be able to decipher and to be able to, hey, check other sources or decide like, what you think for yourself. You cannot just take something or somebody else's word for it. You have to be teaching kids like, hey, think for yourself.
Right. Yeah. I think you say it in the book, and I can't quote it, but I definitely remember there's a part of the book, I think it's Carly, who's like, who even decides on what we get to learn?
Exactly.
And that and why? and it was a really, that moment stuck with me because I feel that a lot. Like, I know a lot of teachers, like if you're an English teacher, you might get to pick some of the books that your class reads. And like who you are as an English teacher is going to make a huge difference on what me as your student gets to read.
Absolutely.
So like if you are a, poetry loving, Francophile, that's going to make a difference versus if you are a hip hop loving fucking Brooklyn file.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that's English where there is a choice. Like in
Right.
a lot of states, it's like the curriculum is decided not by the teachers, but by the superintendents, or I don't
Right.
know exactly, but somebody higher
Higher
up,
up, further
and it's
removed.
decided for the whole district or even the whole state. And then,
Right.
like Texas, it's like who buys all the books. It's like,
Right.
oh, so then it's like, oh, these are the books that are just circulating across the country and everybody's learning the same things,
Right.
and honestly, and we know from history where, a couple years ago in Texas school books, they were trying to rewrite history and say that slaves were immigrants.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
and they were trying to put that in history books,
Right.
which could be going around the country,
Right. Right. There was
It's
that
crazy.
article, I want to say New York Times, a little, maybe earlier this year, could have been 3 years ago. Time is really not a thing that I understand anymore. But it was about, I think, the same textbook company, but the different versions they send to the different states. And I believe it was California and Texas. I'll link to this in the show notes, but if I find it, I'll shoot you an email with it. But it was very interesting because the same topics are allowed to be taught different ways in different states. And so, and I remember when I went to college thinking, like meeting people and realizing that they had learned something different in history. And I'm from California, so I feel like, for most part, I think that our textbooks are on the more progressive side, but it's still a textbook and it's still, has stuff like there were nice slave owners, which, not a thing, turns out.
Right.
But
I had a teacher tell me that literally in class. I had a teacher talk about the nice slave owners and how her family, she had researched her family and she knew her family had slaves and they were so nice. And, it's funny because I think I was in I was maybe in 6th grade and my mama came up to that school. So, because I came home and you're talking, and I might be one of 2 or 3 Black kids in the class and you're telling a room full of kids,
right.
yeah, there are lots of nice slave owners.
Right.
My family had slaves and we treated slaves really nicely.
Right.
It's like, come on.
Right. But when you're a kid, especially if you're not a Black kid and that sentence is said to you, you might just be like, sure, that makes sense.
Oh, okay, sure.
Like there are nice people. Like, and it's like,
exactly.
That's how we get a lot of these ideas that being, racist means that you're a bad person. It's because there's these other ideas that we're being taught that you could be a good person, like it's so, so damaging and so harmful. And the fact that kind of education is dependent on where you're born.
Yes.
I'm just talking about within this country. Obviously, a lot of things are dependent on where you're born as far as education. But as far as we're both Americans, but we've had different educational experiences. And that's just based on, the politics around education and then who your teachers were.
Yes. Yes.
It's crazy. It sucks.
No, I know. Yeah, it does.
Because it can also kill your curiosity to learn.
Absolutely. It can absolutely, especially, just in general, because you have, all these subjects just forced down your throat and you have to learn them this specific way and learn this specific thing about them. Nobody is really asking you what you want to learn about or what you're interested in or, in life, what your life goals. Nobody is trying to connect to you and see what the best way is for you to learn. In a lot of instances, it's like, because we have all these kids and this is the most efficient way maybe to teach all these kids, which even I don't think that is the case, in a lot of cases.
Right.
But it's like, this is how everybody has to do it.
Right.
And you're not reaching kids on a personal level. But to all the teachers out there who are trying, to reach, shout outs to you for trying to reach kids where they're at and trying to get them engaged in what they're learning.
Right. Because it's certainly an uphill battle for those teachers.
Yes.
Like it's not like being a good teacher is not something necessarily that's easy to do in
No, because you're
given
part
the
of a
restrictions.
system and
Yeah.
you have, you still have to, oh, okay, we still have to take this test every month or I don't even know how often the kids are tested these days, but I know it's often.
Right.
It's like all these tests all the
Right.
time,
All the time. Yeah.
which
Ugh.
is teaching them what, teaching them to grow up and I guess fit in like a little cog and be a productive member of society to make who money,
Right.
mostly, older white men, to make them more money and to make the rich richer, but
Right.
they're not out here trying to teach the kids, about, starting their own businesses.
Right.
They're not trying to teach the kids about general finances,
Right. Right.
something that
Right.
is so helpful in life. They're not out here trying to teach the kids about these basic life skills and how to translate your passions, into, work that could make you money.
Right.
It's like,
Right.
this is what we need to be teaching the kids,
Right.
so that, if they don't work in this system, to try to work outside the system and make
Mm,
a living for themselves. It's like, because
mm,
everybody doesn't work in that system, it's like, and really the system is to uphold the system and to make the people on the very, very, very top more money, which we
right.
see, and those people are making more. I mean, the wealth disparity is just it's out of control.
Yeah.
It's
It's
like the
really out
people
of
on the top are
control.
making more and more and more money, and the people on the bottom are making less and less and less, and people on the top do not care.
Do
They
not
don't
care.
care about their health, they don't care about their well-being, they don't care about their families. All they seem to care about is making more money, and
Right.
it is getting out of control.
Right. Well,
Right.
and one of the things that we're seeing also now that's really interesting is like, I mean, I guess we've always seen this, but that there is some sort of a moral judgment placed on wealth. So people who have no money will defend billionaires as good people. Like when Bloomberg was running for president, so many people were rushing to defend him as a human and say that he was this good guy because they know he's rich. And like we saw kind of a similar thing with Donald Trump, that like people value him because he's wealthy, as if that has any indication, like any, bearing on his moral code. And that's not to say that people who are or aren't wealthy can't be good or bad, but
No.
collectively there is this idea, that like Jeff Bezos is great because he's rich. But we see time and again that people who are wealthy can be terrible and don't give a
Oh,
shit about other
absolutely.
people.
Most of the time, to become that wealthy, to become super duper rich, you have to stamp on
Right. Other people.
other people. Like,
Right.
that's just how it works. That's how business works in general.
Right.
Obviously, there are ways to make money and there are ways to make lots of money where you can have your own moral code,
Right.
and you can have beneficial business relationships as it relates to you and somebody else, where both people can be winning. You can be thoughtful, you could be giving, you could be generous in different ways, whether it's donating to charities or just giving in even in the business relationship,
Right.
but obviously that's not going on, because you wouldn't have CEOs who are billionaires while the people that work for their companies are struggling to feed their families.
Right.
You wouldn't have that. It's like they have no care
Right.
for the great deal of people in this country. It's the country, it's the people who are working, and making this country what it is.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's have to change, and I feel like and we're gonna. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised to see more civil unrest to come, because even with this bailout, like with the coronavirus, all these huge companies are being bailed out.
Right.
Even them buying up bonds, and basically giving all these huge companies loans is what they're doing. It's allowing them to invest in stocks, allowing them to do buybacks.
Right.
All these companies are getting richer and richer, while at the same time they're not saying, "Hey, you have to keep your people employed."
Right.
that's not
Right.
that's not a requirement. So we're going to see even the gap between the rich and the poor widen
Bigger.
even more,
Yeah.
and it's
We're
going to
already
get
seeing
even
it. Yeah.
bigger.
Yeah.
We're already seeing it. And it's like, when is enough going to be enough on that front? I know
Yeah.
people are going to start getting sick of that too. I mean, it's already, there's a movement and a rising with Bernie Sanders, but we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean,
We'll
so we're recording this episode right now, June 1st, which is after this weekend of a lot of, civil unrest and protesting all across America. And, without going, I guess, too much into it, one of the things that I feel, at least in my heart, is that a lot of the people who are upset, yes, it started with George Floyd and Breonna Taylor and Ahmaud Arbery. And like, yes, that this Black Lives Matter was kind of the impetus, but people are so upset and devastated. And a lot of what's going on isn't just that. I think it's a lot to do with what you're talking about, this wealth disparity, 100,000 people dead of coronavirus, 40 million people out of work. Like, there's so much to be angry about right now. So I do think that, like, you're definitely right that we're going to see a shift in maybe a few directions.
Right.
I don't think it's binary. I don't think it's going to be a shift one way or the other. I think it's going to be more like there's something in the center and it just ripples outward.
Expands out. Yeah. No, I totally believe that. It's a lot converging at once. And, it's like, 400 years really of oppression and injustice, right, and people speaking up and over and over and over again, just for it to keep happening over and over. And then you have, of course, who we have at the leadership in this country right now, who over the past years, emboldened, right, police officers, reduce the protections, against people, right, and given police officers more power, rolled back everything Obama tried to do. And he wasn't even able to accomplish a huge, great deal, but at least he was making strides in that direction. Right. Rolled back all of that. And so, what you see, it's like, is the people seeing this. The people are saying, oh, you do not care, and people have not cared for years, but you really don't care. Progress is, we're going backwards. We are not about to, we are not about to go backwards. But right, yeah, I think you're totally right. Like, how that intersects with income inequality and how that will intersect, with the disparities and how people are being impacted with the coronavirus, and right now people got time. People got time. That's
the other thing. I know. I was saying that to my husband last night. I was like, nobody has to go to work today or tomorrow. Right. I was talking about today being Monday. I was like, it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Like, nobody has anywhere to go right now.
Yeah. Like, and then it's like how the whole world is joining in too. It's because it's like the United States is, yes, we have a particular race problem. Yes. But there is racism and inequality all over the world. Mm-hmm. And especially income inequality all over the world, mm-hmm. So, and people are feeling it. And obviously the same things that make, the Black communities here feel the pain worse, during the coronavirus will make poor communities all around the world feel that pain worse, during this as well. So, yeah, it'll be interesting how this plays out. But I really do hope that, the work continues beyond this and beyond the marches, and, we work to get the right laws passed and the right people in the right positions, all the way down. So important. Yeah.
See, you're smart. What are you talking about? You're hella smart. I'm like sitting here like, yeah. Liara for president. Let's do it. Okay. Before we go, because we do have to go, for people who love your book, All the Things We Never Knew, for people who are going to read it and they've loved it, what are some things that you might recommend to them to check out? Other books you think that might be good?
Yeah. Okay. So All the Things We Never Knew is a young adult dual POV romance. And so I'm going to give y'all that category. Okay. Nicola Yoon's, which a lot of people have probably already read this, but The Sun is Also a Star.
Great.
If you have not read it, it's a beautiful book. And I like also how Nicola Yoon deals with the larger questions in life. And I also love how the universe in her book is almost a third character. It is beautiful. I love that book. And there's also When Dimple Met Rishi by Sanya Menon. And that's it's a nerd book, but dual POV romance as well. And then there's also the classic Eleanor and Park by Rainbow Rowell. And if you haven't read that book,
I haven't.
Oh, read it. Okay. Oh, it's good. It's good.
I'll check it out.
I know some people have problems with own voices in it because the main character is Asian. The guy, one of the guy, or I think he may be even mixed Asian and white. But I feel like it's a beautiful book and it was beautifully written, and I don't know if she targeted that to the teenage market at the time. I think she too just wrote a book and wrote kind of the best book, but you feel it. And I think adults feel it, teenagers feel it, everybody feels it. It's a good classic. And this, I know I looked to it when I was writing this book. I read it before I wrote my book.
Right.
So
That's
yeah,
amazing.
it's good.
Okay, before I ask you my last question, just for everybody at home, I have left everything that we talked about today in the show notes for you, so you can find Liara's book, all the other books that are mentioned, everything we talked about. I will even leave a link for Love and Basketball for you to watch the movie if you haven't seen it, because it's very good. And then if you're not already, please subscribe to the podcast. You can find us everywhere you get your podcasts, and you can follow us on social media at The Stacks Pod on Instagram and at The Stacks Pod _ on Twitter. And Liara, what are your social media handles if people want to follow you, even though you don't like it there?
Follow me on Instagram. I'm best at Instagram, but at Liara Tamani.
Okay, perfect. And we will link to that as well. Okay, my last question for you, Liara, is if you could have any person, dead or alive, read your book, who would it be?
Oh my gosh, this question. And I've thought about it, and it's still hard. I'm going to say Toni Morrison, because I feel like I owe so much to her, and I don't even know if I'd be writing if it wasn't for her. So Toni Morrison.
That's a good answer. That's always a good answer.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate your time and getting to chat with you.
Thank you so much. This has been fun. We talked about, it was like a random conversation kind of everywhere, but we touched on a lot. And I love talking to you. So thank you.
Thank you. And everybody at home, thank you guys so much for listening. And we will see you in the stacks. Thank you guys so much for listening. And thank you again to Liara Tamani for being our guest. I'd also like to give a quick thank you to Beth Parker for setting up this interview. Be sure to come back on August 26th when Britt Bennett joins us again for the Stacks Book Club conversation of Sula by Toni Morrison. Find everything we discussed today in the link in the show notes. And for more from The Stacks, follow us on social media at The Stacks Pod on Instagram and at The Stacks Pod _ on Twitter. And go to our website, thestackspodcast.com. To join the Stacks Pack and support this show, head to patreon.com/thestacks. Subscribe to The Stacks wherever you get your podcasts. And if you're listening through Apple Podcasts, please take a moment to rate and review this show. Our graphic designer is Robin McCrate, and our theme music is from Tegirigis. Will Sterling is our producer and sound editor, and The Stacks was created and produced by me, Tracy Thomas.